So, since I last did one of these, there's been a transfer deadline day and an away game to Stoke. Thing is, at the moment, next year's documentary is looking a bit ropey, isn't it? My name's Simon Brew, and this is the latest Thoughts on the Blues. Hello and welcome to the joyous world of Birmingham City. After a year where we scored 111 points, got to Wembley and stuff like that, reality is sort of bouncing around a little bit, isn't it? We're at the moment a mid-level championship team. We have not been a mid-level championship team for God knows how long. Once upon a time, this would have been a massive achievement. Now, it's a sign of how far we've come that it's quite disappointing that we're a mid-level championship team, but here we are. Right, some catching up to do. Here I am in the heart of Halezone. Hello, Halezone official sports club. It's been a bit of a 2 weeks, really. 2 weeks where excitement has not been in abundance. So we left it after a defeat at Leicester City, where luxuries such as shots on target and things like that were not in great supply. And we went into a transfer deadline day. So transfer deadline day is it's a very good day for people who haven't done their business earlier in the transfer window, which Blues, of course, did. The problem is there's now such a media scrum on transfer deadline day that if you don't make a good big signing or two on the day itself, it's seen as, oh no, we're in deep trouble. We didn't help ourselves a year ago where transfer deadline day we bring in Tomoki Iwata and Jay Stansfield, two of the most influential players of the last 12 months in a Birmingham City shirt. This time, well, we were linked with people left, right and centre, but in the end we end up with Patrick Roberts. I don't think people are particularly complaining about that signing, and we also end up with Jack Robinson from Sheffield United. That one, less exciting. It's got a bit of the Grant Hanleys about it, but who knows? We've not seen him in a blue shirt yet. I still remember us signing a man called Kenny Cunningham a long time ago, and you know, he wasn't top of many people's list, turned into something quite special. Also, it's worth noting on the way out that the curse of this channel already, what am I, 4 videos in? I'm sure like a video or two ago, I went into full Taylor Gardner-Hickman appreciation mode. The importance of having a really versatile squad player, kind of player who causes no trouble. You can slot him anywhere, bring him off the bench, and he will do a job. He will do a reliable 7, 8 out of 10 job. Well, he's doing that for Blackburn now because he's left us because I mentioned his name and he decided to leave. Alfie Chang has gone. I was quite sad that George Hall went as well. I mean, there was a period of time where he could have been the next big thing for us until injuries took their toll. I wish them all the best. Lyndon Dykes was going to go. Had a deal that was being set up with Hibernian. In the end, didn't happen. So now we've got Lyndon Dykes, who wanted out, I would imagine, who's not got out. So I would imagine, again, he's not going to be around in January. So this is basically the squad we've got. You look at it on paper, you're just, yeah, okay, there's rock solid defensive options, there's attacking options, there's people who can put the ball in the net. Then we go to Stoke City. Now, away at Stoke, God bless them, it's nobody's idea of a good time, is it? It's not a match you look forward to on the calendar. The M5 is an absolute... The M6 is... the M5 leading onto the M6 ain't great. The M6, there's always a traffic jam, and it was always the old cliche. I mean, I remember the beloved Wayne Rooney talking once upon a time about games that he didn't like in the Premier League were away at Stoke and away at Birmingham. Well, we're not in the Premier League now, nor is Wayne Rooney. But that whole, you sort of know what you're going to get kind of thing is, and Mark Robins' Stoke team as well was always going to be really, really, really organised. And so we sort of went we went to Stoke off the back of 2 defeats and with this transfer window complete. So, away at Port Vale, we just don't talk about anymore. Away at Leicester, there's that real danger with away at Leicester that we become that kind of, we're valiant Blues. You know, we'll fight and we'll lose, but we'll clap them off because they've given it a really good go. It was true. I mean, I thought we played well away at Leicester. Didn't look like scoring, recurring theme coming up now, but put in a performance, worked really hard, and it's the kind of thing. It's almost like it's the mentality when you draw a Premier League team away in the FA Cup. And you come away and you run it closer than you thought. The difference is, I think some of us, well, realistically, we could have gone to Leicester and got something had we not given a goal away very early on. And we showed, we showed a lot, but not an awful lot of firepower. Now, go back to the game at Ipswich at the start, at the very first match of the season. And I made a real point when I was talking about it. You can tell next to nothing from a first match of the season. I hate being proven right within a month. I hope I'm proven wrong very, very quickly. That game, we absolutely dominated. Start to finish, only got one goal, which in the end was fatal, really. Only got one goal. Looked like we could have scored more. Had a perfectly good one ruled out. Kyogo looked really threatening. We were causing them all sorts of problems. Cup game, Sheffield United, the same. Never had that performance since. Played well, lots of possession, but never really have I got the sense we've had that cutting edge since. It was the same a lot of the time in League One. Go back through the results in League One. You go on the message boards, we were talking about, sooner or later we're going to put a team away. And only at the very end of the season, we really started to do that. Other than that, we were getting through 1 goal, 2 goal. Problem is, different league, different mentality. We've got to find 2 goals a match from somewhere. It is in the team. I do think it is in the team. I think if you look at that squad list, there are 2 goals a match in there. There's clean sheets in the team as well, but neither of them are happening. So we go to Stoke. And we sort of know what we're going to get. And I don't think when Chris Davis named the team for Stoke, there were too many of them. There were too many of us, really, who would have objected to the lineup. Nyman had not had as good a game since the Ipswich one, but him and Clara as a bedrock at the back, there feels like there's something there that we can build on, certainly. Then it's a question of, do you put Cochrane and Laird or Cochrane and Brightside Samuel? Having them on their natural side seems to work. I was a big advocate for getting Cochrane back in the team because if he's fit, he puts in faster crosses than anyone. His crosses are better. His dead balls are better. Laird runs, in fact, Samuel as well. They both run at defenders and they drive forward. And I've been thinking quite a lot about Scott Wright. And we haven't seen much of Scott Wright in a Birmingham shirt. But one of the things I really like about him, you give him a football, his inclination is to turn towards the opposition goal and go that way. There is a lot of frustration in and around Blues fans at the moment. It's the cliche of tippy-tappy football, which is it's a derogatory way, really, of saying possession football. That we go to Stoke, we have 55, 60% of the possession. Most games we're playing now, we have more possession of the football, but it's sort of what you do with it. And there's lots of passes sideways, there's lots of passes backwards. And the theory was in League One, this was tiring a lot of opposition teams out, that you spend 70, 80 minutes running around after this team who's had the football for most of it. You get annoyed, you do a rash tackle, you give away a penalty, or you just get knackered and opportunities come. We got very good at scoring late goals. And so it's kind of what it feels like we've gone into this championship season doing is League One plus in the way that we're approaching games. You go to Leicester and you see 2 things. Number 1, a manager who's worked out how to play against us. And number 2, a manager with the personnel to implement the plan of how to play against us. Now, in League One, we had teams set up who knew how to play against us, but didn't have the personnel to do it. In the Championship, they clearly do. Stoke clearly did as well. They look at our team sheet and it's just like, there's Stansfield up front, very, very mobile, not particularly tall. We're not winning many headers. Let's put some 9-foot defenders in the back. You sort of expect that at Stoke anyway. It's going to be a bit physical. And they're going to win the bulk of the balls that are thrown into the box. The lower crosses, slightly different. But again, I'll come to that shortly. So, Mark Robins, as Coventry manager, was always decent at doing a number on us. Even when we had that FA Cup game, the one at St Andrews, where we all sat in the away end, we got away with that. We were favourites to win that by a mile. We absolutely got away with that. Robins did a number on us, and he was set up again. So his Stoke team is really, on the evidence we saw, a gritty and pretty grotty to watch championship team. but a very savvy one. It's kind of the team we were for a long time and got a lot of success with. That bits of sparks in the Stoke team as well, but it's quite telling that first half, in comes the corner. The corner is played away from our tall centre-backs who are on the goal line, goes to basically to the back of the box, put a player in front of the goalkeeper, big looping header over, 1-0. At that stage, I was just like, we might be in the shit here. Not because I thought Stoke were going to go absolutely mad and score tons of goals. I think they could have had one more, really. But I was like, how are we going to get back into this? So you look at the team selection and the ingredients were there. I mean, we were wondering what Tommy Doyle would look like starting in a blue shirt. And, we got a chance to see that. Patrick Roberts starting in a blue shirt as well. And, fine. Cochrane on the way at fullback. I was just like, all right, what could possibly go wrong? Within 20 seconds, Damari Gray was in a bad mood and really cheesed off. I haven't seen a game kick off in under 20 seconds in basically the time that it took in that. There was also, was it Laird who did those 2 goal-saving tackles in the game as well? And so it's when it starts to get frustrating, isn't it? The Leicester game, we gave away a goal where really from an Ethan Laird mistake. This time, I've got to say, I love Alex Cochrane. I think he's been a terrific player for us and will be a terrific player for us. It was not his best game at all. I don't know if he wasn't fit or anything like that, but he just looked off it. I've not seen that from him before. Stoke clearly knew it, and they were coming down our wing and having a lot more purchase than I'd like to see them have. Then you've got Doyle. And Doyle, when he came on against Ipswich, it was like an Energizer bunny with super powerful batteries. He was zipping around like nobody's business. He was fast. He was everywhere. And we got a bit of that again. But what we've not seen yet is an end product. You go back over the Stoke game and there wasn't a killer pass in there through to Stansfield or something like that. There wasn't a ball that unlocked something. There's a lot of harrying people. There was a lot of passing the ball around, but there just wasn't an awful lot, I don't think. And there's a bunch of people who we signed over the course of the transfer window who on paper are looking really good, but you just hope they're going to spark sooner rather than later. Firmly in that camp, and he came on for the second half. We've not seen him have a full match yet. Marvin Dutch, who, 1 or 2 decent touches, and all he's had is a couple of cameos. He came to us injured, so clearly unfit. Well, clearly not match fit. I'd suggest still not match fit, but when we go in with one tactic that is being really just counted as efficiently as Stoke counted what we did on Saturday, we need a plan B and a plan C. Now, 2-3 years ago, it was, I know, let's put Juki up front and lob the ball to him. I'm not really suggesting that's the option, but some physicality up front is really, really useful. And so, you take your pick. We've had a Djukovic, we've had a Horsfield, we've had an Adebola, Mick Harford. That kind of target man striker for someone like Stansfield to play off, don't know, has always served as well. I go back to the season that Che Adams scored tons of goals, partnering with Djukovic. The two of them just fed off each other really, really well. Who is Stansfield looking to get the ball to him? Because in the box, really tidy, he'll get a shot away. I like the fact that he's not scared of shooting. If he misses, he'll just have another go. It's great. But the chances are in such short supply at the moment, and the statistic has been bandied around an awful lot. The last 3 matches, we've had 1 shot on target against Port Vale, Leicester and Stoke. Now, 2 of those teams, one in particular, was a lot more resourced than us. Stoke, very, very savvy championship team. Port Vale, why do we only have 1 shot? And somewhere in the midst of this, there's just the feeling that something's got to tweak, that the system Chris Davis is putting out or the personnel he's putting into it have been rumbled, aren't quite working. Pre-match, Davis was talking about causing chaos and unleashing Patrick Roberts and causing chaos. And the bright sparks of the Stoke game, I thought Patrick Roberts looked really useful. And I thought Lewis Kumas looked a lot better than we've seen so far in his 2-3 matches. In that, they ran at people, they took defenders on, and they were trying to get the crosses over. The crosses were uniformly terrible, but I mean the approach and the idea was pretty decent. I would have liked to have seen more low crosses just zipping across the box. For some reason we weren't getting them. Instead they were going straight to the heads of big Stoke players, bashing them out to the edge of our box. Can we get a shot in? That seemed to be about the best we had to offer. So this whole idea of causing chaos that Davis was talking about, I think, I don't, it was less that we caused chaos. It's more that we knocked a couple of paper cups off the table at the end of it. There's just no edge. There was no edge. And there's just a feeling from Stoke and Leicester that we've been sussed out a bit. Now, this isn't doom and gloom at all, that we've lost. We're sat, mid-table, with 7 points after 5 games. Pretty stable mid-table form. In fact, if you keep that up over the course of a season, it's edge of playoffs form. I would suggest that away at Leicester and away at Stoke are 2 very, very difficult fixtures. Home to Port Vale. God love you, Port Vale. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. Respect to Port Vale. So we're heading towards home to Swansea, which all of a sudden has quite a lot of added, I would say, pressure. I'm not one of these Blues fans who's panicking like mad at the moment, but I do think we're coming to tiny turning points that this is really, I'd suggest, the first huge test that Chris Davis has faced, in that his system has been challenged and now he's got to adapt it and change them. He's not lost 3 games on the bounce as a manager, never mind as a Blues manager. He's not had 3 games on the bounce where we've not scored a goal, and he's not had 3 games on the bounce where we've just had 1 shot. That's Ita Karanka level statistics, and yet it's coming from this hugely talented team with some of the best players we've seen in a blue shirt for 10 years, and yet it doesn't look it. It doesn't look it. I mean, it got to the point against Stoke where we didn't even bother going through the motions of telling Ryan Alsop to go down and pretend to be injured so we could tweak the tactics, because, I mean, that was what we had. That was the setup. And there weren't that many more ideas, it seemed, that we could throw them. Wasn't down to the weakness of the bench either. We had interesting options on the bench, and those options you'd hope would continue to improve as players get more and more fit. But still, I come back. I'm reversing the segue slightly. You've got Stansfield, Dux as well, Kyogo, and these talented strikers who are not getting the ball to their feet, to their head, in the box. And it's what are we waiting for? We're waiting for an Iwata screamer to unlock all of this. Give me 20 really crappy goals over the next 6 or 7 games. They can go. Do you remember when, we had a playoff semi-final, the ball went in off Dele Adebola's arse? Do we go back and just well, that wasn't a worldie, was it? It was our goal. And I think a little bit of back to basics of going for a goal might be quite useful. That said, there is a mentality that's just very much, especially when possession football isn't working, of just lump it forward, just get it up, get it. And I'm as frustrated a fan as anyone there. I don't think that'll work with the personnel we've got. I would like to see more urgency moving the ball forward, certainly. But the days of Blues playing 60-yard passes up to the centre forward, especially against a Stoke defence, just wasn't going to work. I want zip. I want speed. I want a bit more. It's not even intensity, because you can see. I mean, look at Pate keeps coming in for so much of the criticism when the possession football isn't working. Look how intelligently he passes the ball around, though. He isn't the problem. He is. You can. How long is it since we've had a player like that who you can trust almost implicitly with the football? And I do think there's a real danger in wishing. And I loved watching Dutch Mike, but we're not the team that you can put Keefton Bell back in that spot to kick 7 shades at the opposition. The personnel around, it would involve such an upheaval with the personnel, and also it'd just be a little less interesting to watch, I think. God bless Keith, though. As was written in the Bible, if you concede a goal away from home at Stoke, you are in for a long afternoon, and we were in for a long afternoon. It does feel that we've got the weapons to do more than what we're doing, really. I do want to put in a favourable note as well for Ryan Allsop. A couple of really good saves. One was offside, but a couple of really good saves. A tiny bit of criticism's been levelled at him for the goal, but Stoke put a player right in front of him. They knew exactly what they were doing. It was a set piece, and what's he supposed to do? You know, fair play, really. I just thought, yeah, that's what I'd have done. And so I think if we're questioning the validity of that goal, we're clutching at straws a little bit. Sure, like 1 in 10 refs would have ruled it out, but the vast majority are going to let that go. One difference with Allsop that I've noticed, though, in League One, his distribution and his ability to pick out a player from like 7 miles away was superb. And I do think we've lost that a tiny bit. Now, 2 reasons why. Number 1, teams are expecting it. Number 2, I don't think his kicking is quite as accurate as it was. So I'm hoping that kind of tunes and just gets, I don't know, a little bit more evolved and goes back to it being a weapon again. I mean, how many times last season did we see Allsop just clear the ball and we're going straight through? The only team that looked like doing that, really, on Saturday was Stoke City. There were, I don't know, this plan B thing has really kind of vexed me a little bit. I mean, there was a bit, I think it was about 15 minutes to go, where Christoph Clara, and when he starts marauding through, like, the you just think that people are just going to bounce off him. It's like sending a tank right down a football pitch. What was the James Bond film with Pierce Brosnan where he just gets in a tank? Was it Goldeneye? He ends up. I mean, that's Christoph Clara, isn't it? He puts a cross in, and he's just caught by the keeper. Not a Blues player anywhere near it. And I kept thinking, where's the chaos? Where's the chaos? Where is it? You told me to expect chaos. I'm not expecting chaos. I'm not seeing chaos, really, anywhere. I know I'm kind of a bit Groundhog Day of that, but it's just, I just want a little, I sound so entitled, a tiny bit more to cheer. I'm not going to sit and boo, because I remember where Blues were, 3 years ago. I ain't booing. I'm encouraging my team. I'm cheering my team. When I see a young player like Lewis Kumas improving game on game, I'm applauding. You know, when I see Patrick Roberts taking someone off, I'm taking someone off. I'm applauding that as well. The thing is, we've got a whole infrastructure and a whole team who have undeniably have credit in the bank. You know, Knighthead, Tom Wagner pretty much saved the club, right? I think we're most all agreed on that. Chris Davies and like 2/3 of the players on the pitch gave us a season to remember last season. They have credit in the bank. Now, here's the thing though. You've got at the top of the club a clearly ambitious set of owners who want the next level up. They also want the next level up really, really fast. I don't get any sense at all that what they're looking for is a nice quiet season of consolidation, mid-table finish in the Championship and going for it the year after. As such, they have raised our expectations as supporters, and now we sort of want that a little bit. Take away like the 5% of like unrealistic entitled fans that every club has. It's just like we should win every game, blah, 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 get it forward, all of that. Right. There is still an undeniable feeling that the standard has been raised and the expectation has been raised. As such, it's putting a challenge on that credit in the bank, just a tiny little challenge to it. And for Chris Davies, notwithstanding the fact that this is a test, I've talked about that. It's the first time I've seen his approach consistently questioned over like a 2-3 week period. That because the defeats to Leicester and Stoke could really be put in the same lever arch file on the shelf, there's a sense, and I don't think it's unreasonable, I feel mildly disloyal saying it, there's a sense of not just what else have we got, but why did we fall into pretty much the same trap? Concede early and then look toothless at the top. Even accepting the quality of the players we've got. And why have we suddenly become, Yeah, I think so. A team that's brilliant in the middle third of the field. Bit shaky. I don't know. Toothless again in the top third of the field, and then this bedrock defence that we built on last season isn't quite filling me with the confidence it was. Ben Davies and Christoph Clara last season, I mean, would have stopped 95% of anything coming their way. No, Nyman and Clara, in theory, should be as good a combination of that, and were in the Ipswich game. Cashin as well had a good first game, but I don't know, it just doesn't quite feel as gelled. Only tiny fractions, stuff like that, but the standard of who we're playing and the standard of the league we're in has gone up. So I think there are tiny question marks there. And I come back to what I said at the start. It's just like, what kind of team do we want to be as supporters? What do we want to be? When Blues go to a ground like Stoke, work really hard, have most of the ball, and come away with a 1-0 defeat where we fought hard, how do we respond? And I remember when I was at school, and when the head teacher used to read out like the sports results of the school teams over the weekend, and if we lost by a point or two, it was always a credible performance. So, having talked about that little sense of entitlement that it's very, I don't know, that I just think is a dangerous thing. I'm now going to rip up my own rules. It's just like, I don't think I want to get to the end of the season, to go to the end of season awards dinner and just go like, that was a credible season. Because the ingredients are there now. The expectation level has risen, but also that expectation level has been backed with a squad of players that I think 2/3 of the Championship would be very happy to take on, no questions asked. Half of the rest of them would look at cherry picking at least 5-6 of the players. I think the squad is good to very good. I think we've had a reality check as to what we're up against. We're so far from panic stations. I mean, we just are. We're nowhere near in the problems that we were in the past, but we've got that expectation thing, and I'm falling for it. In truth, I'm trying to give as measured and as reasoned and as like circumspect a look at how the season's gone so far. I look at the table, 7 points from 5 games. I just think, what have I become? I'm a tiny bit disappointed with that. You know, one decision at Ipswich is 9 points, and then you look at, oh yeah, that's a great start to the season, but we didn't get that decision. So, you know, we move on. We've got 7 points from 5 matches. We've not been played off the park in any of them. We've played one team off the park, and that was Ipswich. Because let's not forget, Oxford nearly pinched an equaliser. We didn't look dominant in terms of wiping them away in that match at all. And again, I don't expect us to everywhere, but I do think we've got more in the tank. I do think that there's more to come, more to offer, but it's that thing. What I can't do is come to the end of the Stoke game and say, that was all right, that was fine, because I just think it's deadly to do that now. I think at the point where your ground's half full, half empty, has been condemned, you can't get in your seat, and there's no money, every point you get feels like something. Every victory you get feels like something. And so 3-4 years ago, we lost 1-0 to Stoke, and it was that close. I'd be just like, oh, you know, fair enough. We gave it a go. Same with Leicester, we gave it a go. I can't do that now. I don't think I'm alone either, because I'm just like, we could have done 5% more there, couldn't we? And it's not the effort, it's not the endeavour. I think at the heart of it, these last 2 games, we've just been slightly tactically outplayed. And that's the new challenge. It was a credible performance against Stoke. It was a credible performance against Leicester, but we've ended up with sod all from it. I think at this point, I mean, I sat through as many of you did, the Alex McLeish promotion season from the Championship, which was a year of absolute dross football, not a credible performance in there really. and we got promoted. I think I'd rather have had 2 crap performances and 6 points. I know that's not the standard now. I know I've contradicted myself so many times just in this one video, but it's a credible performance against Leicester. It's a credible performance against Stoke. And I tell you, you can bet your arse when they come to package up the next series of the documentary, what they don't want. I mean, at the moment, what do you want? 5 episodes of credible performances? We better knock it down to 2. Reality checks. We've had them. We've got a better understanding of what the league is. Chris Davies has got a better understanding of the challenges in front. It's still far more positive than negative. I think if the standards are raised, brilliant. We as fans can ask the questions of that. The ones who are losing their heads and saying, let's get a different manager in and stuff like that, I don't get it at all. What do you want? Karanka? Do you want him back? Steve Cottrell needs a job. I know Nuno's available. I've seen that as well. But, why? No, not now. It's here. This is our armory. This is the guy who led us to 111 points. The whole knee jerk of football managers. Let's just build something. Let's just build. It's building. You can see it's building. But I will say, if we don't get something out of Swansea at home at the weekend, hopefully move to 12:30 on a Saturday. Thanks for that, Sky. If we don't get something from there, if we don't get a goal, if we don't have 5 shots, if we don't get at least a point, and we should be gunning for 3, no disrespect, Swansea, a good team, but we have to go to the mentality of gunning for 3, then the conversation's just going to turn again a little bit, because Coventry around the corner, and we've not got the best track record there in recent times as well. This, folks, is a test, isn't it? This might be one of the moments we look back on at the end of the season. It's just like the way we dealt with those 2 matches was absolutely defining for what came ahead. Couldn't tell you which way it's going to go at the moment. That documentary, 6 out of 10 at the minute.